you settled now?
I don't know. It's always different every time we do this. Like, are we centered? Because there's YouTube involved. Are we in the right place? Are we doing the right thing? I don't know. Hi,
Who
everybody.
are we? Why are we here? Oh, wait. Hi there.
Hi, how are you? You said hi there, so I just answered you. Hi, everybody. I'm Mary.
I'm Jerry, I think.
And welcome to the Mary and Jerry podcast,
dun, dun, dun.
where we talk about love and life and faith.
And whatever else I can't remember.
Family.
We're going to talk about something, but I forgot what it was.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Baking.
Baking with bacon.
That doesn't always turn out well, but it's a nice thought.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, there's no topic that is off limits. We will answer any
Some
and
of
all
them
questions.
we don't remember, but they're not off limits.
And, we're just so happy that you're here. If you would like to hit that subscribe and follow button wherever you listen to your podcast, we'd greatly appreciate it, as well as on YouTube. So, Jerry Don, what are we going to talk about today?
Apparently, we're talking about Lent.
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 Sometimes Lent is very lenty.
We actually have a friend of ours who plays Andy Williams. It's the most wonderful time of the year on Ash Wednesday because
it's his favorite season.
He loves Lent.
Lent.
Never really understood that,
well,
but he loves Lent.
Everybody to each his own.
Yeah, has his thing.
How do you feel about Lent? First of all, maybe we have some non-Catholic or non-Christian listeners and viewers. Jer, what is Lent?
Lent's when you have to give up eating meat on Fridays.
Oh my gosh. Lent?
Liturgically speaking,
is
Lent
a penitential
is the
season.
40 days before Easter that is marked by penitential sacrifices.
Prayers,
almsgiving, and that other one that we just prayers, almsgiving, and penance. As I said, no topic is off limits, but we don't remember them all. So, yes, Lent is that preparation for Easter, right? And
prepare
fun fact,
ye the way of the Lord.
Lent is 40 days, not counting Sundays.
Correct.
And it's 5 weeks. But Easter...
No, I thought it was 6 weeks.
6 weeks, but Easter is...
50 days.
50 days. So that's like 8 weeks almost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And then you have the octave, which is the 8 days. Which the 8 days after, from Easter through Divine Mercy Sunday are pretty spectacular.
Yes.
It's like a party.
So, yes, Lent is that time of the year when you figure out what you're going to give up.
So, Jer.
Yes.
This year in 2024.
Yep.
What are you giving up for Lent?
Stupid people.
Okay.
No, I can't give them up because they're everywhere. Was it my favorite meme today? I saw, yes, I want to follow Jesus, but I also want to slap people sometimes. There you go. That was just sort of.
That speaks to your heart deeply. Deeply
slap the sin and stupid right out of them.
You can't fix stupid. You
no,
know.
Apparently you cannot.
You can fix a lot of things. You just can't fix stupid.
Cannot fix stupid.
Okay, so again, I ask you, what are you giving up for Lent?
I'm okay. Yet again.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to try to give up.
Did you just change your mind
no,
on air?
But I heard a great saying. They're not curse words. They're sentence enhancers.
No.
I'm like,
you received Jesus with that tongue, dude.
I use a lot of sentence enhancers.
You are very much into sentence enhancing. Yes, very much so.
I use a lot of sentence enhancers.
So you are going to give up cursing.
If I could give up stupid people, that would make it so much easier.
Which is why it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, no kidding.
And you're giving up.
Okay, so these are pretty big. Yeah, I'm trying to. We'll see how that's a
really big.
That's a mighty big 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Good for you.
Trying is the operative word here.
24 hours in, how you doing?
Actually, today's okay. I'm too tired to complain.
To complain.
Too tired to
come up with the
appropriate sentence enhancers. How about you?
Well,
go ahead.
I am giving up shopping.
Define that for me.
I am giving up all shopping.
I want it on record right here on the podcast.
As in makeup, clothes,
Earrings, shoes.
Okay, excuse me.
Sorry,
You can hold back your excitement.
I'm avoiding.
I'm giving up. I'm giving up shopping through my phone, shopping online. I'm not allowed. It's not allowed. I am going to the grocery store and purchasing the appropriate simple menu items that are needed.
That's not shopping. That's like survival.
Okay.
There's a story here, which we will tell in a minute, about the Great Lent of 2007.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. So I'm also getting up earlier and increasing my prayer time. So
we're gonna hit the novena box.
Oh my gosh. So Jerry loves a good novena.
Because one of the things that we've always done is like we go, okay, what are you giving up individually, and what are we giving up as a couple?
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
So let's explain our Lenten process.
There's a process?
Well, yes.
Okay, go
Several years ago, as in probably 20, we were in counseling or spiritual direction or something. And the spiritual director said, or the person said, you two know each other better than anybody else knows you. So he suggested that we suggest for the other something for them to give up.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that?
Oh, I do.
That's how we got to this point.
Still married.
And also to the point where, when you asked me, okay, Mary, I need you to prayerfully consider what you think I should give up. And then I said to you, Jerry, I need you to prayerfully consider what I need you to give up. We answered each other's question. We prayerfully considered very quickly.
I was going to say, that was the speediest prayer in Christendom, I think.
We both know what our crutches are right now. And yours is complaining and using colorful metaphors.
Sentence
and mine
enhancers.
is, click and, put it in the cart. Add to cart, click, and it shows up. So what are we replacing those things with?
Aha.
So we're replacing those things with, Jerry has decided we always do something together in our prayer life. So we are going to do a series of novenas, because a novena is a prayer for 9 days. So we're starting with St. Joseph, a novena for 9 days. We're going to move to St. Jude.
Patron saint of lost causes.
All right, another 9 days. I think Divine Mercy is done after Easter, but there's several that we can choose from. We'll let you know what one we're on. But we'll start with those two. And also, we cut down on our time online. We eat more simply. But on Sundays, as Jerry said, Sunday is always a little Easter. And so
I can complain on Sundays?
Why would you complain on the Lord's Day?
Ouch.
Why would I shop on the Lord's Day? These are good questions. Mm-hmm. So I think we're actually going to keep our fast throughout the whole of Lent.
Mm-hmm. But we will have yummy dinner on Sunday.
We will have a very yummy, and there will be dessert on Sunday. We tend to not eat dessert during the week, just as an extra sort of layer of sacrifice. But it's going to be a very challenging Lent, just because a lot of things are happening in our life. And, this is an opportunity for us to it's a wake-up call for our soul and for our heart to pay attention that, we came from God and we're going to go back to God at some point.
But what if I hit the spiritual snooze button?
No. That's bad. That's very, very bad.
Cannot hit the spiritual snooze button?
It's called lukewarmness.
Or as St. Augustine said, make me holy, but not today.
Remember what the Lord said about lukewarmness. He spit him out.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to be spit out.
There's iced coffee and there's hot coffee, but there's not lukewarm coffee.
That is correct. So pick a lane.
I totally get that.
There you go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of our past Lents. I'll ask you this, what was your best Lent that you can ever remember? Your best one? The one where you felt like you started off strong, you finished strong, you were fully present in that Lent?
I would have to answer E, none of the above, because most of my Lent They're like, the Lord is dragging my butt across the finish line of Lent. And I'm like, no. And he's like, come on, Although I guess, no, that's not true. I guess if I have to say my best Lent ever was probably the year that I came in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure I do my first confession during that Lent. And that was an interesting experience. And I got the added bonus of you were like, when the priest explained the process of what that first confession did, you're like, wait a minute. So you go to confession once and you're like good for your first 35 years. And the priest is like, well, yes. And you're like, that's not fair. I've been going to confession since I was 8 years old. And I'm like, what can I say? So, but that was a very good Lent and Easter because that was the year that I came into the church. And I think that was the first time I'd ever gone to like a 3-hour mass because I did not know that Easter Vigil was that long.
Now
and I'm like, now I do.
And this year we're at Easter Vigil again.
And then you get to do the chariots and the charioteers because I always ended up doing that reading for Exodus. So I'm like, the chariots and charioteers. And I try to do my best Charlton Heston voice. The chariots and charioteers.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
I think for me, my best Lent was the Lent after Courtney died.
Do you remember the Lent after Courtney died?
I do, very much so.
How do you even remember that?
Well, because I was with my spiritual director, and I said, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and we were still heavy in grief. She had died in December. This was March. I think Easter was in April that year. I'm not sure.
It usually is.
Well, yeah, this year it's in March. And he looked at me and he said, Mary, this year you're not to give up anything. Because this year you are to rest, you are to pray, and you are to just be present in your life. Because I was in such heavy grief that the idea of piling on something else just felt insurmountable to me. And he gave me permission to just be present. And it was one of the best Lents I can remember, simply because, number one, I was obedient to someone. Like, I did what he told me to do. And number two, I was able to just be with God. It wasn't about what I was giving up. It wasn't about what I was eating. It wasn't about what I was praying or what I was reading. It was just simply me and the Lord. And I remember being present at Easter Vigil that year when the bells rang. It was the first time Courtney always laughed when the bells were rung at the consecration. And so all the bells are rung for the Gloria. And I just remember weeping. And I'm like, she's here. She's right here with us. It was just a beautiful, beautiful Lent and Easter. And it was her first one in heaven. It was just glorious. But tell me your...
Wait, I'm still going back to that perfectly obedient statement there. I'm like...
I was perfectly obedient to him. Can you turn off my phone?
Apparently.
Hello, people.
Hello, people.
My phone is right next to you. How about you turn it off so nobody has to hear the ringy dingy for the remainder of this podcast?
Hey, we are live.
Just live and keeping it real, people.
Keeping it real.
So what was one of the most challenging Lents that you can remember?
Now, I do want to put in a plug here because, when I was growing up Lutheran, we did observe Lent. Lent was when
you offer things up for Lent, or did you you went to church more?
Yes. During Lent, you would always have the Lenten program that would be on Wednesday nights at 7:30. So you go to church on Wednesday nights and Sunday nights during Lent if you were Lutheran. Now, of course, the Baptists in town, they went to church every Wednesday night anyway, so it didn't really matter. But for Lutherans, we always had some special program for...
Was it like a Bible study? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of like a Bible study. Yeah.
Kind of when we have our parish...
like a parish mission, only they had a theme for the 6 weeks. And you would go to the parish and it was usually the pastor would lead you. And but what was basically...
Was everybody together, or did the adults go one place and the kids another?
No, we all went in the
sanctuary?
main sanctuary, as I recall, because of course you had Sunday school on Sundays, and that was by grade, of course. Anyway, so okay, let me tell you the legend. The legend of Jerry's most memorable or infamous, depending on your point of view,
I like the word infamous. I like infamous.
Lent ever. So it was, it was probably right around the time of Courtney's campaign. I don't remember.
No, it was after that.
After that. And
Yeah.
somebody who shall remain unnamed.
Hi, my name's Mary.
Challenged me to give up meat for Lent. She's like, you need a real sacrifice. And now, of course, I did ask for a complete definition of what meat meant, which apparently includes pork as well, not just cow.
It was pork, chicken, and it was everything but seafood and legumes.
Yeah. So.
But I was doing it with you. I was doing it with you. Like we were giving up meat together.
Because you're not be dumb enough to eat meat in front of me when I was giving it up. But off we went, cheerful little Catholics, into the wilderness. For the first 24 hours.
Cheerful?
Yeah. So
I do not believe that was ever.
My honey lamb got her, 365 vegetarian meals cookbook.
I did. And after and it was great because I was in the zone. We were having protein with the fish soup and the.
You're glamorizing it. It was like
the beans and the rice.
Yeah, I ate a lot of beans. You were definitely in favor of that plan.
We got a brand new bottle of two Beano right before the meal.
Anyway, so after about 7 days, or did I make it to 10?
No, you made it to 10.
I made it to 10 days.
We were over at our friends, Deacon and Christine's, for Sunday dinner.
That's right. And I had an intervention. So the deacon walks up to me.
And he puts
a hamburger in front of me. And he says, eat. Now, I think he was ordained by this time.
Yes, he was a deacon.
He's like, eat. And I'm like, but deacon, I need to eat. I'm like, but I gave it. He says, eat. And I'm like, it says, you're making the rest of us commit mortal sin because we're all trying to figure out where to hide your body. And I'm like, am I that bad?
Yes.
He says, eat the hamburger. Now that was the most tasty, juicy, delicious hamburger that I had
in a long time.
And I ate the hamburger
because he's a deacon and he's,
and it was delicious.
And he's also your best friend. And
he said, okay, you need to find something else to give up that doesn't lead the rest of us into sin.
And that's something we have to be very, very cognizant of, right? You don't give up something because, for any other reason than you want it to transform you.
I was transformed, all right.
But in the process of this, I
was not made more holy.
Well, the thing was that you chose, let me be very clear and very gentle here. You chose your attitude in which to go into Lent, and you were not happy about it. Even though we had prayed about that together, we had brought it before the Lord, and we both felt that we were supposed to do this together.
We were wrong.
I reject that we were wrong.
I was wrong.
I think that you could have done it if you had gone in with a better attitude, but you chose not to, and that's fine. It's a legend now. It's kind of like the year that I gave up coffee.
Now, let's talk about that, dear. I do remember.
I did not make it to 10 days.
No, and the rest of us almost didn't either.
I made it to 4, I think. 4.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you pleaded.
And I hadn't given up caffeine, right? I had a cup of tea. I just had given up coffee and the experience of coffee.
No.
And I was it's such a ritual for me that I was,
yes. Oh, it is a ritual.
Just like eating your hamburger is a ritual. So we knew at that point, after that experience, that was like the year after the where's the beef experience. And so we got a little bit more intentional about our, what would you call it? Our discernment over
Lent.
How to do Lent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody was coming to you and saying, I'm trying to figure out what to do and what to give up for Lent, what would your instruction to them be? How would you counsel them?
Are you putting me on the spot?
I always put you on the spot because this is a podcast where we talk about everything, and that's an everything pile.
Oh, it's a pile. It's a pile, all right. Piling on. Well, so here's what I would say. Think you got me? I don't think so.
Oh, it's not a gotcha question.
So what I would say, so there's two schools of thought, because I talked about this with my spiritual director at one time or another. So there's a Lenten sacrifice, there's giving up something, but then there's also sort of, I guess I would call it a Lenten action, right? Like, what are you going to do to try to improve your spiritual life, bring you closer to the Lord, increase, I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, increase your holiness, right? Because that's what we all want to do. We want to grow. Thank you. There's my word, grow in holiness. So what he would say is, okay, so you give something up, but what are you going to do? And I'd be like, well, what do you mean? Well,
isn't giving something up enough?
Well, yeah, I might have said that too, but
well, that's why there's the 3 pillars, of almsgiving, right?
Prayer, right?
Prayer,
so he basically said to me, okay, so what are you going to do for prayer? And I went, and I had to think about that for a minute. He's like, well, why don't you, when you're, you and Mary, because he knew both of us. He's like, why don't you and Mary do, a rosary together before you go to bed, or a novena, and
we've never done like a whole Lent of novenas before.
No, because let's be brutally honest.
We have a hard time at about week 2.5 to 3.0.
We are not the most consistent novena like people. Like when we were doing Courtney's prayer stocking, yes, we did a rosary every night.
Because that's always for someone else. When you're doing it for someone else,
right.
I feel very.
But a rosary we kind of have memorized, right?
Right.
As long as I have fingers to count on, because I don't count so well anymore either. It's. You don't have to like, oh, now what's the prayers that go with that novena? With the rosary, you just, okay, the five glorious mysteries.
We're saying sorrowful during Lent, but okay.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
So yes, for us, the sacrifice of prayer is just, remembering, taking the time, even though we are tired, to do the novena.
To do what we said we would do. Yeah.
Yes. And that is always a big challenge for us, not gonna lie.
Always.
I
think what I would say. Would you like me to think? Would you like me to say?
Oh, I would love to hear what you have to say.
We got to get better at this whole, asking each other questions. And
are we talking about prayer or the podcast now?
Yes. Well, yes, we are.
I just think you like to find some question that you're just like, he won't see this one.
No. Okay, now that is not it at all.
Wait a minute. I have a question.
I'll get to my. Oh, you have a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
So we were Lutheran. What did your family do for Lent growing up? Did your mom ask what all 8 of you little rascals were going to give up?
Well, no, my parents allowed us to give up something privately, but the household always did something together.
And what did you guys do?
So there was one year.
Oh, tell me about the Green family Lent.
There was one year that we were giving up TV. And so my mother would run errands sometimes after school. So we'd come home and she'd be like, you cannot watch television, I'm going to be gone for 30 minutes. I'll come back, and we being who we are.
I'm sure you were perfectly obedient.
Not at all. And so it got to the point where my mom would come in and she would put her hand on the television. And if it was warm, we were in trouble. So what she did was
criminal masterminds.
They took the television, because it was just a box television, and they put it in the trunk of the station wagon covered with blankets. And it stayed there for the entirety of Lent because she couldn't trust us not to watch TV.
Oh, that is classic.
It was. And it was hard for my dad because it was hockey season. And
she made your dad do it too.
Well, the whole family did it together.
Oh,
so that was 1 year.
I don't imagine Joe Green appreciated that at all.
Well, he got through it. He got through it. The other thing was we didn't have sweets. We only didn't, and we abided by the Lenten fast, including Sundays. So the best part of that Lent was the television was gone. So on Sunday nights, we usually did family things together. And so this is when we all got our own copies of our own dictionaries, and the Scrabble tournaments would begin. And we would play board games while we listened to old-fashioned radio. Do you know the old-fashioned radio of the 40s?
Hold on. Back up.
Yeah.
You each sat there playing Scrabble with your own dictionary.
Do you think I was going to trust my brothers that they had spelled something correctly, or that they were going to trust me?
And how often did...
That's a heck no.
How often did everyone consult their dictionary?
Every single day. If it wasn't like their THEIR, if it was something else, oh no, it was consulted. Absolutely. And my mother would be walking in and out of the kitchen constantly as judge and jury.
But these were regular dictionaries, not Scrabble dictionaries.
No, these were our pocket dictionaries from school.
Okay,
that we had
because
in our backpack.
Scrabble dictionaries are totally different because they give you all... Okay.
But anyway, so we...
Wait, did your dad ever play with you?
Oh, yeah. We played Monopoly. We played all kinds of
things. Did he play Scrabble with you?
Yes. He kicked our butts on a regular basis. He's a lawyer. Yes, he won.
I imagine he won because he was a lawyer.
But we would listen to
the old-fashioned radio show.
Like The Shadow Knows.
The Lone Ranger.
And what is the other ones? Dial M for Murder. Like they would have... There was a public radio station. My mom would have it on in the little box radio on the top of the refrigerator.
Transistor radio.
Yeah. And we'd listen to it while we played games. I mean, that was a beautiful Lent.
That was like streaming back in the 70s. That was like streaming entertainment.
Pretty much.
Radio. Yeah.
But that was a great Lent. It was a hard Lent, and we learned a lot of lessons, and we waxed a lot of wood floors because of the whole television thing. But that was a good Lent. That was a really good one.
Wait a minute. That was your mother's punishment, was you all had to wax the floor?
Yeah. Have you ever waxed?
Like Mr. Miyagi? Wax on.
Yes. Have you ever done that? Okay, so what we would do is Dad would clear out all the furniture, and then we would he'd scrub it. Like there'd be two of us on the scrubbing, like with scrub brushes. This is not with some automatic thing. On our hands and knees scrubbing, and then behind us would be two other kids wiping it down and rinsing it, right? And then Dad would put on the wax. We would let it dry with the fans. Dad would put on the min wax, and then we would have socks on our feet, and we'd have these pads on our knees, and we would have pads on our hands, and we would just go
wax on, wax
all the way,
off.
like all of us. And then after a while, you'd shine it up well enough that you could slide with your socks, and so we didn't slide. That was like the reward. If we got it shiny enough, we'd have to do that like every couple of months. We did that.
But always during Joe Lent, Green with his working party of 8 kids all lined up, and your mother was no doubt.
She was in the kitchen cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah.
My mother had a plan for every Lent. She scrubbed that house from top to bottom, and we scrubbed with her every single Lent. Every weekend in Lent, there was a major household chore to be done. Like she would clean the curtains in the living room. We would we'd min wax the furniture because we had the 1970s. Well,
she had 8 kids, so that's a pretty good sized working party there,
Yes, but
they're also a lot of child labor.
We were also children that didn't necessarily do it like my mother wanted it done. So, there was a little bit of that. But yeah, we scrubbed that house. By the time Easter Sunday came, the entire house had been spring cleaned. Everything smelled like min wax.
Everything was ship shape.
Yep, and lemon oil, and it was awesome. And I remember those smells so much so that's what I clean with now. Everything has to have a citrus or a lemon smell, or else it's not clean. It's just not.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah,
I don't remember that Eleanor Pearl did that. I mean, we did spring cleaning, but we didn't have wood floors either.
No.
So.
Well, we had wood floors. After a certain point, we did have the orange shag rug for many years.
Awesome. We did have the
where
70s
the
70s paneling. Did you ever
we had that downstairs.
70s paneling.
And we had where the
avocado refrigerator?
The shag rug. No, the shag rug was where Barbie shoes and Legos went to die.
Until your dad stepped on them.
Those things hurt. Have you ever stepped on a Barbie shoe?
No, but I've stepped on more than a few Legos.
Oh, my word. It is a situation. It's like a spike right through. Oh, it's horrible.
But back to Lent.
Yes, back to Lent.
So I'm trying to think, what was the best Lent that we did?
I'm sorry. And then my apologies for interrupting you. then as a family at church, we had a church mission. Right.
Yeah.
So that would be, you would just kind of like you did, but we didn't do it for 6 weeks. We just did it for like 3 or 4 days in a row, 1 week during Lent. And then we had Stations of the Cross. That was a huge thing for us, that we had Stations of the Cross every Friday. And
Right.
we had it right after school. So they would do it twice on Friday. They do it at 4:00, I think, and then at 7:30. And so unless we had to, if we were playing basketball, or somebody was playing a sport, they might have to go to the 7:30, but we went every single week. And on Friday, the meal was always tomato soup and grilled cheese.
What a coincidence. What are we having for dinner tonight?
Tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese, because as we are recording this, it is
Ash Wednesday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah.
Lent.
It's pretty Lenty.
It's pretty Lenty. But that's okay. It's like I said, it's a reminder that, from dust you shall come and to dust you shall return.
Oh, I know what we should do.
What should we do?
Because
I'm
I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. We should find Bishop Fulton Sheen, one of his Lenten shows. Oh my gosh, that would be epic.
That would be pretty good. We could do that.
With his swooping cape.
He was pretty. And another thing I thought of was, have you ever read John Paul II's sermons during Lent?
No, but I am afeared.
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
They're really good. I was thinking about that the other day, that we might pull those out and, I don't know, maybe read them together.
Yeah,
but Fulton Sheen, I know. He's your guy. You love him.
Would be pretty cool. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I don't know. What would Jonathan say if we asked him what his favorite Lent is? I'm not sure I'd remember.
I don't know if he
I'm trying to remember Lent. Wasn't there one Lent that, what was it? Not Lent, but Lent and Easter, that Thursday, at the Thursday service, Courtney had a seizure.
Oh, no. Okay, so there were two. So there's the first one where she was one of the people that got their foot washed.
Yeah, no.
Right?
The one where she went to the emergency room.
That was 2 years
and
before
in
she
the
passed
hospital
away.
over Easter.
Yeah.
People,
No. She went in. She had a seizure during, you were reading on Holy Thursday.
Yes.
And I was in the auxiliary room with her. Right. She was having a seizure. And then she went into what they call a rolling seizure. So she would have a brief break and then seize again and then keep going. And we grabbed Father Barquette right after Mass, and he gave her the anointing of the sick. And we immediately went to the hospital. And then that was the Holy Thursday where we almost lost her, because they took her from Fair Oaks by ambulance down 66 to Georgetown.
Right.
And she tanked twice in the ambulance on the way. Her blood pressure they couldn't keep it up. They had an EMT straddling her gurney, squeezing the IV bags to try and get her blood pressure up. And we showed up at Georgetown, and there had been some sort of gang activity. And so the hospital was on lockdown.
Right. We never have boring hospital trips.
No, we never do. And you were at home with Jonathan.
Right.
And I went, and they were fully with body armor and everything. The guards came. They had their weapons. They escorted us straight through the emergency room, right up to the ICU. We were still trying to get her blood pressure up. It was like a scene from some hospital show, and it was just, it was surreal. And we got in there, and I remember the doctor literally took me by the shoulders and put me against the wall.
Yeah.
And told me to stay there because they had to get around her bed and work. And so I was by her head. And I just remember whispering into her ears that I loved her. And if this is the day that she was going home to the Lord, it was okay. And that, she would get to spend Easter in heaven. But if she wanted to fight, we would fight. So she had to make a decision. She and Jesus had to make a decision. And what was so intense about that is we have pictures from that hospital stay, because the doctors were positive she was not going to make it home. And so Jonathan came on Good Friday, and he said his goodbyes, and you were there with me, and my mom came. And this was 3 years before she even passed away. But we thought this was the end. And we had our own Easter miracle. Like, we had so many people praying that on Holy Saturday, when the world goes quiet, and our Lord goes down into hell to scoop up all the people that were meant for heaven, he did something amazing with her. And on Easter Sunday, that afternoon, they released us from the hospital and we came home. We had our own Easter miracle.
Note to self. Never, ever, 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 if you can avoid it, of course, which you won't be able to, but if you avoid, don't go to the hospital over a major holiday.
Don't do that.
Because you will die. Fortunately, Courtney did not because she found favor with the Lord. But for the rest of us, you will die because you don't get the A team, you don't get the B team, you get like the C team. And that might have been one of those hospital incidences where
you were asked to leave.
I were like, Mrs. Lenaburg, can you find your husband something to do at home, not
away.
Here?
Yeah. We also thought our daughter was.
There was a lot of big feels.
Yeah. And you did not handle those well.
My big feels were mostly irritation.
Well, no, your big feels were totally fear, but they showed up as irritation and frustration. But you were in complete panic.
Well,
because we weren't ready.
No.
Not that you're ever ready, but we really weren't ready.
Really weren't ready.
We didn't. Not then.
Not the now.
We didn't. But that began a process for us that from that point on, we got ready.
Yeah.
And we didn't take anything. I mean, not that I thought we took things for granted before then, but after then, we sure as heck didn't.
No.
And it changes everything. It changes how you do Lent. It changes how you do Advent. It changes how you live life on the daily. So that Holy Week was something special.
That was something. It was something, all right.
It was something special.
Something.
But we were really happy to get to Easter.
Well, yes, because we got to come home.
Yeah, we were really happy to get to Easter. And
I don't think I had ham that year. It was very sad.
You did indeed have ham because our prayer group showed up.
Oh, they showed up with Easter dinner because they're like, we didn't think you guys had time to cook. I'm like, cook? What's cook?
Yeah. And there it was. It was all laid out for us. It was beautiful.
Yes. I think they got the ham just for me.
They did because they know how you feel about pork.
Mm-hmm.
King of the Southern table.
Praise the Lord.
So for Lent, here's the thing. It's not a competition. It's a communion. It's a communion between you and the Lord. And, even for Jerry and I, it's not about doing Lent well. It's about being transformed by the process. And sometimes transformation, actually most times transformation is very messy and it's very hard. And it involves a lot of surrender and it involves a lot of acceptance. And those are things that for two people who are control freaks like us.
I am not a control freak. I have control issues. I'm not a freak. I might be a super freak. Super freak. You didn't think you're going to make it all the way through a podcast without a little singing, did you? Super freak. Super
okay.
Freak.
You can super freak it down. Okay. Okay. Wow.
So, Lent. Live it, love it, learn it, Lent it.
Boom. That's a great transition into
seriously
or not.
No, seriously though, I think it was that year that I had that talk with the spiritual director because I can't talk now was really kind of transformational for me because I always thought, Lenten's about sacrifice. Oh gosh, what you going to get up for Lent? But then he's like, no, what are you going to do to grow in holiness to draw? It is
draw closer to the Lord,
penance. And almsgiving. So everybody's very focused on the penance and maybe the almsgiving, but maybe not so much on the prayer. So that's one of the things that we have certainly tried to do. And yet again, we will strive to do this year. We'll let you know how it goes.
Yes and amen.
Amen. And now it is time
for the not so newlywed game. And I picked the questions.
Yeah,
today.
I know. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, but okay.
So Jerry. What do I compliment in your personality and what do you compliment in mine?
Okay. When you say compliment in my personality.
Complimentary. How?
Oh, okay.
What is it in my personality that you compliment and what is it in your personality that I compliment?
So you take you compliment me with your empathy because I generally have none.
That's untrue. That's a false statement.
But you definitely compliment me there. I would say, but I get in trouble because then you'll think it all the time. I would say that you compliment me because you're a little more spontaneous than I am. I hate spontaneous.
A little more spontaneous.
A little more spontaneous. You are
a lot more.
You are literally the build the airplane in flight person, and I'm like, nope, we don't take off until all of our systems are checked. you're like, nope, we'll just build the airplane in flight. Like, no. How do I compliment?
So I get you to kind of, I shake you out of your stodginess.
Sure, we'll go with that. How do I compliment you? That's a very good question. On the flip side, I think that I keep you grounded because sometimes you're like, oh, I don't have a parachute, but I'm going to leap anyway, and I'll just figure something out on the way down. I'm like, no, nay. Or you're like, how do we do this? I said, well, we could do this, or we could, and you're sort of a dreamer, a visionary. You're not really you realize that in order to achieve that goal, we have to do this, and
That's
this.
That's correct.
And you're like,
I like the top part of the bun and the finished product. Everything in between. Can somebody else do that?
Did you just use
a hamburger?
A hamburger analogy?
I did.
Okay.
It's a hamburger.
Okay.
It's a Lent episode. We got to talk about a hamburger.
Okay. Your turn.
Well, I would agree with that.
Oh, that was eat. What? Oh, come on.
Next question.
You never agree with me.
I agree with you all the time.
Okay. You mean like this? Honey, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? Well, are you hungry?
That's not agreeing with you. That's just that's being indecisive about what I want for dinner. It's different.
And I'm
Moving on.
I'm like, hey, would you like Mexican? No, I don't want Mexican. No, then you're not agreeing with me.
I'm not.
Just saying.
No, that's being indecisive. It's different. Jerry, what 5 things do you enjoy doing with me?
5 things? Well, I know what number 1 is.
And go to number 2.
Number 2. You didn't say what order.
This is a family show, Jerry Don.
How do you think we got the family here?
Oh my God.
By doing my number 1 favorite thing.
Okay. Number 2 is
I'm still getting over number 1. Number 2, I like going to brunch with you. Does that count?
Yes, it does.
I like cooking with you.
Yes,
Are you sensing a theme here?
I think he's hungry.
I'm hungry, or I'm something else, but that starts with
Please
an H. We'll go with hungry.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Okay, so we got number 1. Number 2, I like to go to brunch. Number 3, I like to cook. Number 4, this is kind of weird, but does any other married couple have this deal, right? So young married couples are they have to be up in each other's business all the time, and I don't mean that in a sexual way, but they have to be together, doing things. So I have reached this august stage in my married life that I can literally be sitting here in the living room reading my book while she's watching some period drama on Netflix, and I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, you just like to be in the same room.
Just need to be in your presence. And I'm good, Or sometimes if she's watching her period drama, I'm in my office writing for my Substack or something. You can subscribe. See how I did
Plugless.
that? See how I did
what
that?
Is that? Shameless plug.
Shameless plug
shame.
For Grouchy Historian Substack. And then what else do I like? Oh, you know what? I lately it's a lot of fun to take Maggie on a walk together.
Yeah,
it is pretty hilarious to watch the border collie and the 2 old folks try to go for a walk.
The 2-year-old. Okay,
Yeah.
What 5 things do I like to do with you?
I know what number 1 is, right?
Nope. I love
it's
to
not number
snuggle
1
with you.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
love
but if
to go
your
on
number 1
walks with
snuggle leads to my number
No.
1, then
Stop talking.
okay, just saying.
I like to cook with you. I like to go on adventures with you.
Define adventures.
When I am spontaneous and I drag you along with me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to, I love to date. Like when we go to a movie and dinner, I love to go on a date with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have your full and complete attention. You put your phone away, and it always leads to your number 1 favorite thing. So we should date more often. Is all I'm going to say.
If we can figure out where you want to eat.
Oh my gosh. I like getting dressed up and going out.
Yes, you do.
I would love to find a place that's got dancing. That would be so much fun.
Okay.
Just saying. Anyways. Okay. Last
Does a whiskey
question.
bar count?
Sure. Do they have dancing?
I don't know. We can make it happen.
No. It's not where you drink whiskey and then you start dancing. That's not the same thing.
Either way.
Okay. Last question, my dear.
Oh, geez.
What is your spirit animal and why?
What is Okay.
It's a very Lenty question. But
My
anyways,
spirit
what is your
animal.
spirit animal?
Mm.
Not that we believe in these things. I'm just saying for fun.
What is like the grumpiest animal in the animal kingdom?
The grumpiest animal?
That would be my spirit animal.
What? I just think a bulldog.
Yeah, that probably a
no,
bulldog.
but I mean, or a gazelle. And you know why?
I am not a gazelle.
And you know why?
No. You're very. Oh, behave. Now, my spirit animal is still a
joke.
bulldog.
I'm not explaining
I just sort of drool. I bark at people.
No,
and
that
I
is
like
not
to
your
take naps.
spirit animal.
Speaking of spirit animal, our dog is laying on the couch whining because she wants to go out and play frisbee.
My spirit animal
is like Speedy Gonzalez. Boom, 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 boom. You can't see this on the podcast. Boom, boom, boom. They press his mouse in all Mexico. That's your spirit animal.
Is that my spirit animal?
I think so.
Okay,
my spirit
go
animal would be Slowpoke Rodriguez.
He has a fabulous hat.
He does have a good hat,
and he's got that sash thingy that he wears.
That's right.
That's good. He's well accessorized.
But what else would be your spirit animal?
I just think that I am like. I see myself as like a zebra or no, not a hippopotamus. No.
Were you actually going to say that? Because
No.
I'm like, wait, what?
Or a giraffe. I just think they're elegant and they're fun.
You just want a neck.
Like I do. I would lick a neck because my daddy did not give me one. I think giraffes are beautiful and elegant creatures, and I think zebras like belong in a disco. Yeah.
Disco zebra. Wow. Wow.
Let's go.
Disco zebra. Okay.
You know, I do the hustle. Dun 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 dun.
Wow. Okay.
It's a zebra hustle.
I got you, boo. Wow. Okay,
and that,
and
my
on
friends,
that note,
brings us to the end of this fabulously
if you would like
intoxicating conversation.
If you would like to call us, text us,
yes,
adopt a border collie.
We hear you.
You can call us at 571-354-0351. You can text. You can leave a voicemail.
Again, that's
Border collies are standing by.
Again, that's 571-354-0351. We'd love to hear from you. She is just whining.
Oh, my God.
She looks like you when it's dinner time. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us on
the Mary and Jerry podcast.
Until next time.